Okay, and the way we started it, we're thinking about using pause and FI. And the way we came up with using the pause in the beginning of the FI is to have the person walk. And then we're going to put a pause in the walk. So as I walk and I feel my right leg, I'm going to pause and feel how solid I'm on that. And then I'm going to take a couple of steps and pause on my left leg. And I don't know if you saw it, but did you see how I went like that when I paused on the left leg? I'll
Do it
do it.
again.
So I'm just walking, I'm pausing on the right, walking, and I'm pausing on the left. And you can see it, there's a little jerkiness on the left. It's not quite as smooth as I stop and pause on the left as it is on the right. So that's kind of a cool way that we can put the pause into this thing that we can do in our reference movement before the FI.
Mm.
Okay? And we're going to keep it simple. We're just going to stay with that and see how that improves rather than doing a whole bunch of stuff. Okay. Yeah, but you have that idea of, right, just
Right.
using pause and the walk on one leg and the other way to make it easier to compare differences.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have Fred. So I was just trying to have something to handle while Bobby was handling your head. So was the first movement just a head lift,
We start with rolling the head. That Moshe
rolling?
and Mia usually start with rolling the head.
That's where
Okay.
the resistance
Pause.
begins.
When you get to the point where you feel some resistance, pause and just kind of look and see and feel how far is that going down.
Definitely for him is not very far.
Okay. And then
Let me go do it again.
compare the
It's
other side.
right there. Okay.
Okay. And now let's
Yeah.
see what he does to the right.
Even less.
Even less. Okay. So he has a little bit more available going to the left. So let's go to the left.
Mm-hmm.
Now go where you can go. Okay, Bobby, take
Thanks,
care.
Bobby.
Thanks, Bob. My head feels good.
So
Okay.
this is where he goes easily.
Okay, so now you're going to pause, but see if you can find a different part of your hand in a different direction on his skull. So you can just go a teeny bit further. Maybe you're using up towards your thumb, maybe you're using towards your pinky. But see if you can go in a slightly different direction with your hand and how you feel his head roll. So you can just do a tiny bit more.
Yeah, I was able to use towards the thumb and get a tiny bit more like that.
Okay, good.
Come back.
Yeah, come back and pause. What you can do is move your hand up a little bit more so your thumb can go up even a little bit higher and put your thumb on his head.
My thumb on his head. Okay.
Or maybe not. But go ahead. See what part of your hand you can find to do a little more.
Put on his head.
And if it doesn't work toward the thumb, then see if it works toward the pinky side. Maybe his ear needs to roll a little bit toward his shoulder, the left ear.
Let me just think. There. There.
There, yeah, you're able to find a little more, right?
Yeah, so it had to be more of a side bend for I had to play with my hand.
Yep. But that's the nice thing about the pause. It gives you a chance to try a few different directions and see where you can just do a little bit more easily
Mm-hmm.
without increasing the force. Okay, and then try with the left hand. And let's see if that improves rolling the head to the right.
Oh, wow. Even Fred.
Yeah, he has something up there.
So he goes here. This is
Okay.
starting to feel resistance here.
Yeah. So you feel the resistance. So figure how you can shift the weight on your hands, how you could roll his head a little bit differently. What direction allows you to do a little bit more without increasing the amount of force you use.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That looks good.
Yeah.
And then paying attention to how far down the spine it's going.
It's definitely further than it was before. I think I feel it here in him. Before it was way up here.
Good. Okay. So now you'll go back to the middle and pause. And now let's see how lifting the head goes.
So this is the first time I've lifted his head. Is that correct?
Yeah, so now you're going to pause. Let your hands be on the floor
Mm-hmm.
and feel the weight of his head on your hands. And get a sense of it, because sometimes the person is going to need a moment or two to kind of adjust to your hands behind their head. So if you pause for a little bit, you'll feel that they'll let go a little bit more, and you'll feel more of the weight of the head in your hands. And we're thinking about like what part of the head touches the floor during the scan. Well, you want to think about where the head is centered on your hands and whether that feels balanced, like the weight of the head is balanced on your hands. So when you pause, you can really feel that. And the
So
more
is the weight of the head, I mean, if I put it right here,
yeah,
then let me just get that down. Then it's one hand, and that's where the weight is on on my hand. But if there's two hands, it has to almost the center of his head right here is between my two hands. And
yeah,
then I
and
have to
you
support
can try it
both.
both ways and see which way you like more. And we did the one-handed lift with Leora in Beth Holtz.
Right, right.
So
I th
if you like, and the one-handed lift is kind of nice just for lifting the head up and down.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't give you as much control if you're going to move the head around, but just to bring the head forward away from the table,
What do you
you
do with your second hand then if you do a one-handed?
works the nicest for you.
What do
So
you do with the second hand?
you could put the second hand under the first,
Oh,
kind of as support.
but then the head isn't
Way down
neutral. You know,
towards the chest. So you need to be careful to keep the head in the same position.
yeah, I think I'll go back to two hands.
Yeah,
Okay. I want to make
yeah.
sure you can see what I'm doing.
Chin is, and now you want to keep the chin in the same spot as you bring the head forward. And pause there and just notice how much movement you're getting down through the spine, or it's stopping. And then come back and come back
Let me
completely.
just feel that again.
Yeah, let your hands totally rest on the floor and see if his head is heavier in your hands. So there's a pause at the top and there's a pause at the bottom. At the top, you want to see how much of the spine you're getting by bringing the head forward, how far it goes down. And then the pause at the bottom, you want to see if there's more weight of the head in your hands. So we're pausing at the top, pausing at the bottom, collecting information. Good. Okay, roll the head again. Let's see if there's a change in how the head rolls. That's our reference movement. Yeah, looks like you're getting down the spine a little more. More of the spine turning.
A little bit.
Yeah.
He's a little stuck. Let's see. I'm just gonna
Yeah, a
shift some.
real person you'll notice more.
A real person, yeah, because he's so
Well,
plastic.
and plus with the bungee, you got to wrap the spine pretty tight with the bungee to keep all that stuff together.
Yeah. I'll try it on Gary later.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what we did next from then is we did the lifting of the shoulder girdle. So
Shoulder
you can
girdle.
put the two hands under the armpit, and then you can turn your hands so the thumbs are up toward the ceiling, and you're just lifting. It's almost
Thumbs
like
are up towards the ceiling. Okay. So I'm going under like
slide
this and then
under your hands and then turn them up under the armpits.
okay.
Yep, and now you can have your thumb up toward the ceiling. Okay, now come up so you can catch the just under the neck of the humerus. And
Oh, neck of the humerus, so right here.
so good. So now you're gonna pull his shoulders a little upward like he's shrugging. Basically, you're gently lifting the shoulder girdle a little bit from the rib cage.
Mm-hmm.
Good. And now you just want to feel the weight of the arms and the clavicle, the weight of the shoulder girdle. And it's a little up, and it may need the shoulder blades may need to flare out a little bit. You're just gonna have to feel. Now, on a real person,
Uh-huh.
you're gonna feel the arms and the back of the shoulders get heavier on your arms.
Okay.
And then you may see some lengthening in the front. You know, the front of the hip joint may lengthen a little bit.
Help me understand that the lengthening of the front of the hip, because the shoulders are a little bit this way. How
Yeah,
does this part lengthen?
if the
So if
shoulder
this,
being pulled forward,
yeah,
right?
I'm going to exaggerate to help me understand.
Well, the shoulders being pulled forward is going
Then
to create a
this,
certain pattern in the body.
Okay.
Maybe there's more of an arch in the back, or maybe more flexion in the hip.
Wait,
And
wait, wait.
by you
Actually,
taking the
tell
weight
me.
of the arms and the shoulders, right? You're
Yeah.
basically what you're doing by taking the weight of the arms, you're turning off the pec muscles.
Oh, okay.
Pec muscles that may be chronically tight and pulling
Yeah.
the shoulders forward,
Mm-hmm.
now they're starting to release and let go.
Okay.
What you may see is more of the spine sinking toward the table.
Mm-hmm.
As lower back starts sinking toward the table, you may get a shift in the pelvis and a little movement in the hips. That's what I
Okay.
was feeling when Bobby did that with me.
Okay, so I'm gonna actually exaggerate just for educational purposes. So I'm gonna take this is how he rests.
Yep.
I have to just see it on because he's right here and he's a skeleton. If I take this up like this, then the
Yeah, now you're
back
doing the
goes
rib
down.
cage. So don't take them from the rib cage. Take them from the arm up.
Okay,
You want to lift the shoulder girdle a little off and away from the rib cage.
like this.
Yep, just a tiny bit.
Okay,
So
so
you're
this.
differentiating the shoulder girdle from the rib cage. And the rib
Oh,
actually sink into the floor a little more.
oh, okay.
Simon showed this to us in a sitting position. He said if you want to, do a quick FI demonstration on somebody and they're sitting, you just can lift the shoulder girdle like that for a little bit. And then when you put it back on, they're going to feel a massive change.
Yeah, I wanted to see what happens in the hip because you felt the lengthening in the hip, and I wanted to know. I see it now. Because in the skeleton, this flattens. So as this goes down, this lengthens.
Yeah, yeah, and it'll
Yeah,
be
okay.
easy on a person because his bungee is only going to change so much.
Right, right,
Whereas the
right.
person's nervous system will be turning things off and creating a big change in the pattern.
Okay. But
Yes, and
yeah,
after
yeah.
you made a difference with the shoulder girdle, you can roll the head. You
Okay.
can keep the head's rolling it, and what you're looking for is the rolling of the head. Is it connecting into the collarbone and the scapula?
Okay.
Are you able to pick up the shoulders on rolling the head now?
Ah.
Yeah. See?
Oh, even on him. Wow.
Yeah, yeah. There's some intelligence. It's the way the bungee, Nick did a good job putting designing it so the bungees were kind of anatomically in a proper position so things could happen.
Yeah, I
Good,
could actually feel it through the shoulder blade now. Huh. Cool.
kind of cool. Yeah, it'll be
And
much
even on the bungee. What? I'm sorry.
I said it would be much easier to do this with Gary.
Okay, that'll be good. Oh, wow. I'm surprised.
Yeah,
Even
fair.
with the bungees. Yeah.
Okay, so the last thing we're going to do, because our walking was kind of our reference movement to start the
Mm-hmm.
whole thing off, is working with the shoulder blades and getting it so the movement of the shoulder blade helps contribute to the shifting of the weight.
Okay.
So hands are going to be under the shoulder blade.
Same position with the thumbs towards the ceiling.
Yeah, and see, do you remember how we have the whole shoulder blade in the palm?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So the first thing is just pausing and feel. Just have your hands fairly flat on the ground and feel what parts of your hands are on the shoulder blade and what parts aren't. So now you're the floor and you're feeling how this person's lying on the floor with their shoulder blades. So now you're taking a pause to know where the starting position is. Okay, now the next thing that you can do is move your hands so you're molding the shoulder blade. So parts of your hands may have to move upward to contact the shoulder blade.
Okay.
Okay, and now you're going to slide the shoulder blades just a little bit forward so you can feel the weight of the shoulder blades in your hand. And then you can just pause there.
Forward as towards the ceiling or the ground or
Yeah,
to the
down
side.
toward the ceiling. You
Towards
may
the
need
ceiling.
to side a little bit, right? Because the ribs are this circular shape. So it's not straight up toward the ceiling. It's like an arc. It's an arc outward and upward. And then as you're pausing, you're just feeling the weight of the shoulder blade and noticing if that increases. Almost the same thing you were doing with the shoulder girdle. You're just doing it with the shoulder blades now. Okay, and let's say that you feel the shoulder blades a little more in your hands. Now you can go back to the floor and pause. And notice if you feel the shoulder blades in your hands differently when your hands becomes the floor.
Yeah, the left one is heavier. It wasn't heavy before.
Oh, cool. Okay, so you got a little change. Okay, so now you can pick one side and slide one shoulder blade a little forward, which is away from the spine. You figure out which one's easier to slide forward.
The left one's easier to slide forward.
Okay, so work with that one. Sliding the left one forward.
Yeah.
And then bring it back slowly. And then we can do a little differentiation too. So you'll slide the left shoulder blade forward, but what you can do is just hold the right shoulder blade in place. Don't let that move.
Okay.
So you're kind of creating that little differentiation movement there by not letting the right shoulder blade move. Next time,
I did.
yeah, next time forward, let the right shoulder blade go backwards. There you go. And good. And
Ah.
so what you're looking for is the weight shift, right? As the left shoulder comes forward, the weight shift towards the right hip. And
Mm-hmm.
then are you moving the shoulder blades in such a way that the ribs get shorter on one side?
Okay.
So those are the things that we're looking for because that's going to be the scapula movement in walking.
Help me understand. Ribs get shorter on one side and longer on the other. I don't exactly understand that or visualize that or feel it. I'm not sure.
Possible on the skeleton. I'm just going to jump down here quick and see.
Okay.
It happens pretty naturally with a person.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, he's kind of concave. Yeah. So what you're going to kind of notice is the side that comes shorter is
Oh,
the shoulder blade that comes forward. The ribs are going to tend to shorten a little bit. And think about moving the shoulder blade toward in a diagonal line toward, you're doing the left shoulder blade. Think about moving the left shoulder blade toward the right hip.
left shoulder blade toward the right hip. Oh,
Blade,
okay.
the clavicle meets the AC.
Where the clavicle meets the AC. Okay.
Yeah, so think about that front point moving toward the left hip.
The left clavicle,
That left
left hip going towards the right
right
hip.
hip.
Okay. Oh, okay. So this
And then the right shoulder blade, right, is going to
short, shorten?
the right shoulder blade goes toward the table as the left shoulder blade moves away from the table.
Yes. Let's see if that's a diagonal.
There you go. And now it looks like
Doesn't the right ribs shorten and the left ribs go a little wider? That's what I think I'm seeing. Is that right? Correct?
uh yeah, it looks like that's what you're getting. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Especially if I'm doing that diagonal. Okay.
Yeah. And if you're not sure, you can put your hands on top of the ribs with the Arlen zone thing. So
Uh-huh.
you're
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
and you're on the top ribs.
Uh-huh.
And then you can think about moving in that diagonal line there. That helps.
Yeah, that's easier to see too. That's
Now
the
you can
right gets shorter and the left gets longer.
right now you can kind of see that way,
Yeah,
right?
that's much easier to see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let
Yeah.
me
So if it's not happening with the shoulder blade, you can do that movement. Good. Now go back to the shoulder blade and see if you can see.
okay, let me just see if I'm doing it correctly. So if I do the Arlene zones thing, I
Yeah.
go like this, and
Yeah.
these get shorter as these get longer. Because I'm thinking
Yeah.
this way.
Yeah. So as you're moving with, yeah, because yeah, because you're lengthening the one side and shortening the other side. And then
Okay, okay, got
getting
it.
that little shifting of the weight.
Okay.
So hopefully the weight is shifting toward the lengthening side.
The 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 left side is lengthening in the ribs. The right ribs are shortening.
Yeah.
The I'm thinking of the
No,
diagonal from left.
think about your right fist pushing the
Okay.
weight to the left hip.
To the left. Oh, right to the left hip.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
And then the
Because I
left
was
fist is gonna push the weight to the right hip.
okay. So do both. Okay.
And then see if you can find that on the shoulder blades now after you've done that.
Okay.
Maybe that will be clearer through the rib cage and the shifting of the weight.
Okay, this is the original movement.
And you can think of, moving to going shoulder blades into the ribs a little bit too.
Shoulder blades
Rather
into
than
the.
just sliding forward and back, you could even use the shoulder blade to kind of move the ribs a little bit if you need to.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I could feel it with my intention to the opposite hip, it's easier to feel it
Good.
and actually see it.
Nice.
But it has, yeah, okay. And on a human, a
And
real
you can
person, it'll be
pause.
easier.
You know, the
Okay.
pause is going to be when the one shoulder blade comes forward and the other one comes backward. You can pause so the person can really feel the weight on the hip. You can pause so the person can really feel the weight on the hip. And maybe even pause longer on the hip where you noticed in the beginning where they were less stable.
Okay.
Nice little pause there gets them to really understand that diagonal relationship between the shoulder and the hip and how they connect together. Good.
I'm going to do the opposite side. See what he's going to do. Put my hands out.
Okay, yeah. Now see what it's like to lift the head again. And let's see if you can feel the spine all the way down. Yeah, there you go.
Even on Fred.
Even on Fred. And then if you want, you can do that little lengthening thing.
What's the little lengthening thing?
So you lift up the head so you feel the whole spine. And then you're
Okay.
going to tuck your pelvis a little bit. So you take the head a little towards you. And then just think about that spine getting longer.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. You feel that down toward the tailbone?
Yep. I can even see the tailbone moving. I
Okay.
can
Now, what
feel
you
it in
can
my.
do to kind of help set up the turning is once you feel like you have the whole spine,
Yeah.
then you can see what it's like to just turn the head a little one way, turn the head a little bit the other way. See if you can feel that turn and go down through the head a little bit more. Yeah, scoliosis.
His scoliosis isn't as big as
Yeah.
your
Well, that's
skeleton.
the best thing about Michelle's skeleton. He's as messed up as we are. Your skeleton's a little too perfect. Your skeleton's like Superman.
No, he's asymmetrical.
Oh,
It's
is
just
he?
oh yeah, he is.
Good.
Shoulder blades are up and down, but it's not like Michelle's skeleton. So while lengthening, I lift, grab the spine, roll my pelvis back, and then rotate his head a little to
Maybe
one
a tiny
side,
bit.
toss. What? I'm sorry.
Yeah, yeah, and see if it's not available, that's fine. You know,
All right.
if it's not available, that's okay because you connected the spine.
Okay. Yeah, it's good
Okay,
to yeah.
now you're back to rolling the head, the
Ah,
initial
okay.
reference movement, and we're looking to see if it's going to connect all the way down to the pelvis and the hips.
Not yet. Not sure if it's connecting because of tight bungees or not.
Yeah, yeah, and that will be good because if you work with Gary,
Yeah,
it's hard. It's hard to get it down to the.
I'll work with Gary right afterwards if he has a few moments.
There we go.
Yeah, people don't have tight bungees. I mean, they do in a way,
Yeah,
figuratively, but their nervous system changes more than this guy's. Yeah,
well,
that's kind of, thank
particularly
you
with
for
the
going.
rotation.
Yeah, yeah, because,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
if it's tighter here, something tight. Yeah.
yeah. You were able to get nice lengthening through his head.
Yeah, the lengthening was very good. I could feel it, and then I could go up with him, and then I could lengthen and rotate. I could,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
and
nice to
balance you
practice on
can
him.
go through. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then the last part is he would just get up off the table and he would walk like I did. Okay, so now we're just going back to our original thing. We'll do this so Janet can kind of see.
Bobby, can you raise the screen up a little bit and move the table back? Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, much more solid on that left leg.
Stable, yes. You could be a runway model, just sit there and strut your stuff.
And go strut. Yeah.
No, yeah, you don't move your hips. You
Yeah, I know. I was just scrolling.
Would you do that again, Tom? Kind of like, I want to see it again.
Yeah, so that's right leg,
Yeah,
left leg.
Wow.
stops, he's like striking a pose, but so he's very still, whereas.
Yeah, yeah,
he would
before you could see it, it was very unstable on the left side. Now I feel solid like a rock.